Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Glowing Stitches. If you are new to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever I post new videos. So in today's video, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful dress. You can see how stylish it looks, right? So for the sake of this tutorial, we'll be making use of our black colored beads. Of course, you'll be needing your material, your lining, and the basic things you need to make your work neat and presentable. So we'll be using our black beads, enough to go around. Now let's get started. Let's keep that aside and let's get started. Before I continue, you can make use of any size of the beads you want. You can make use of a bigger size depending on what you want. Just be creative, now, as usual. Let's get started. Fold your fabric into two like so, and then start marking out your measurement. That's to say your full length minus the joining point. I hope you know there is a joining around the waist area. So let's continue. Now, after folding your fabric, mark out ½ inch from that point where there are write-ups on the fabric. We are going to be taking that part out. So from this mark you are making now, that is where the measurement will start from. To get this point, add 2 inches to your under bust point measurement. That's from the shoulder to under your bust. Then come down again by 2 inches to get the length of this point we are trying to get now. So mine is 16 inches. I added 2 inches, which makes it 18 inches. That's why 18 is there. That's why we are marking 18 at this point. You can add 3 inches if you want, depending on where you want your joining to be. Do we understand? Now 22 is the half length, right? 22 is the half length. You mark out your half length. From the half length, come down by 9 inches to get your hip point. Some people's hip point might be 10 inches. It varies, measurements varies. For the fact that I'm using this measurement doesn't mean you should use the exact measurement. Just follow the pattern and take your accurate body measurements. Your hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. Your waistline, that's the half length divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. And to that point where we marked 18 inches, you would mark your under bust points measurement there. That's rounded, divided by 4 plus 3 inches. 3 inches because we are going to be adding our darts. Now connect those lines together. And the measurement you have around the waistline, you are going to transfer it downwards to the down of this pattern. So this is it. Transfer that measurement and add 1.5 inches. I hope you understand. After doing that, you connect all the lines together. And you can use your measurement ruler at this point if you have. But if you don't have, you can just use a freehand like I am doing. Although I'm still going to be adding a plain black material to the length of this gown because I want it very long to be touching the ground. So I'm still going to be adding that plain material to it and to the sleeves also to give it a little twist. Now take that aside and fold another piece of fabric and place the one you just cut out on it. Then cut what you have. Don't forget to include your zipper allowance. That's 2.5 inches for the zipper allowance and the slits at the back. After doing all that, you move on to cut. So now let's mark where the slit at the back will stop and where the zipper allowance would stop. From the down of the gown, mark upwards about 25 inches depending on how you want your slit to be at the back. You want it high or low. So I'll be marking 25 inches. And from the 25 inches upwards, I would be marking half of the measurements I have there. That's half of the 2.5 inches. which will give us 1/4. I'll mark it upwards like so, and then cut out that part and split the remaining slits of 25 inches like so. In all this, please don't forget to notch. Now let's move to the upper part of our dress. As usual, mark out 1/2 inch at the top, and that's where the measurement is going to start. Mark your bust point on a straight line. I'll be making use of 12 inches for the bust point and 16 inches for the under bust. Mark your under bust and connect the lines. Now on the bust points, mark your bust measurement, your bust divided by 4 plus 4 inches. Mark it on your bust point. Same applies to the under bust. Your under bust measurement divided by 4 plus 4 inches. Also the waistline divided by 4 plus 4 inches. And connect all these lines together. Mark your shoulder measurement. Your shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus 2 extra, although we are still going to take that out. Mark your armhole measurement, although we are still going to open that up after joining. Move on to your bust point. Mark 4.5 inches. Your under bust, mark 4.5 inches, and your waistline also connect a straight line downwards like so. Now on the side of the 4.5 inches, mark 1.5 inches on the waistline and the under bust, and connect a line from the bust point towards that 1.5 inches you mark. From the shoulder downwards towards the armhole, mark 4.5 inches and connect that line towards the armhole in a curved form like so. If you have your ruler, you can make use of it to make it easy for you. Now connect the line. From this curved line you just made, now mark 1.5 inches like so and connect it to enter into the curved line. That's to make it align like so. Please do this carefully. This determines your bust point. Strike out those middle lines and you are good to go. Now let's cut our neckline. Our neckline will be measured 4 by 4 inches. That's 4 inches for the depth and 4 inches for the width. Mark yours carefully and cut. You can see how I'm trying to cut out these marked measurements carefully, so make sure you do yours like that. Let's cut out the back pattern using the front pattern before we cut out the unwanted parts in the front pattern. I hope you understand that. So bring out another paper and place the front pattern on the plain paper, leaving a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches or 1/4 inches. Mark your bust point, your under bust point, your waist point, and every other measurement on this paper. This saves you the stress of starting afresh, so just transfer what you have to the other paper. The only difference there is the cutting of the dart. The front and the back darts are not the same. You cut after doing all that marking and measurement, and then don't forget to add your shoulder slant. That's from the shoulder, come down by 1/2 inch like so. Take out the front pattern and let's focus on the back. That is where the work lies. Start by marking out 4 by 4 for the neckline. Although we are not going to cut out the 4 by 4 neckline, we'll just use it as a guide to where we are heading to. After doing that, extend the other lines so that you don't get confused on the way. Now from the under bust point, mark 6 inches. Then go up by 1 inch and mark and connect the line. On the bust point, still mark 6 inches and connect the line. And as you are going upwards, you are adding the measurement. Going towards the neckline, it's now 6.5 inches, and on the shoulder point, it is now 7 inches. So it varies. As it's going up, you are adding up the measurement. So as you can see, it is now 7 inches wide on the shoulder. Now we are going to cut out that part carefully, and after cutting we would have this L shape. So if you don't want the U shape in the picture, you can make yours this L shape that we are using now. So now let's bring back our front pattern and cut out the unwanted areas. That's this part that we strike out, that we marked out. We are going to cut that part out, including the neckline also. So after cutting all that on the pattern paper, we are going to transfer this pattern to our fabric. So you bring out your material and transfer this. Please note that we are cutting that center piece for the front. We are cutting that on fold. It's not supposed to be separated. Now let's move to cutting of the sleeve. Fold your fabric like so. You know it is not a fitted sleeve, like it is not a pencil sleeve. Mark the length of your sleeve and then move on to marking out the length of your armhole. We'll be making use of 9 inches. 9 inches, right? Then curve the line upwards like so. Measure round your arm and whatever you have divided by 2, that is what you mark at this point, plus your allowance, extra inches for allowance. After marking, connect the lines and curve. Make sure the down part is wider than the armpit side. You know it is a bell sleeve, so ideally the down side is supposed to be wider. You remember I said I was going to add a black material to the length of the gown, right? So I think I'll be adding that to the sleeve also. So what I'll do here, after cutting out the sleeve, I would divide the full length into 2. Half of it will be the material and half of it will be the plain black material that I would be adding to this sleeve. From the length of the sleeve, mark upwards 12 inches. It could be more than that. It could be more than that. It depends on where you want that opening to start from. So I would mark 12.5 inches at that point and 2 inches on that point also. So from that 2 inches, connect it upwards towards where you mark your 12 inches. After connecting the line, you would have this triangle shape and then you cut. After cutting, open up and you would have this. Now this is the down part of the gown. I've added the black plain material. You know I told you I wanted to add something. So I've added that about 6 inches. It is not compulsory. It is not compulsory, but I decided to add that material to it. So this is what it looks like after lining and opening up the zipper and the slits at the back. Now this is the back pattern for the upper part of this gown after lining, and this is what we have. Please ensure you do yours carefully and join accordingly. This is the back panel. This is the back of the dress. This is what it looks like. And then this is the front panel. So I've already added my bra cup and the lining also. Please attach the lining carefully. Also, this is the sleeve. This is what the sleeve looks like after attaching the black plain material to the sleeve. So what I just did here, I just cut from that point where the opening starts and added the plain black material, and then also I added the length of this sleeve because I want it longer than that. So I just cut out from that opening and attached the plain material. So this is our lining. Place what you have on it carefully, then I will show you how to attach the lining to the sleeve. This part can be tricky, but I'll show you how I did mine. Let's head to our machine. Start by joining the down side of the sleeve. That's the two sides, right? This is one side and then this is the other side. After joining the down, fold on 1 inch and join the sides of the sleeve. Please watch carefully, these parts can be a little tricky. So this is what I mean when I say fold on 1 inch. Watch carefully. So this is the 1 inch, fold on that side before sewing, and as you are sewing you are arranging so that you don't have any excesses anywhere. The 1 inch folding aid is for both sides of the sleeve, and this triangle opened at the middle, so you are folding that 1 inch inside, both on the sides of the sleeve and this triangle in the middle. That is the folding in allowance. Now, after joining all sides, carefully cut out that middle point. That's the triangle in the middle. Carefully cut that out so that you'll be able to flip over the sleeve. And when you flip over, you would have something like this. Give it a good press and you are good to go. So it is at this point you can now bring out your beads to start attaching to your sleeve. It is better to attach the beads before you join the sides of the sleeve. So from the edge, mark 1 inch on both sides, and that is where you would start placing your beads from. So you can space it by 1 inch, you can space it by 2 inches, depending on the amount of beads you have. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are going to space by 2 inches. This is a sample, and this is what it looks like after attaching the beads. After tying it, make sure you tie it firm. Make sure you put it firmly so it doesn't cut. You can see how fine and neat it looks already. If you have more beads, you can space by 1 inch just to make it fuller than this. Then you can now go ahead and sew the sides of the sleeve. Please make sure you sew the top, this curved side, up before joining the sides of the sleeve. Let's head to our machine. Join the up and the down part of the back pattern and also the up and the down part of the front pattern together. And then this is what the back looks like after joining to the down parts. This is what it looks like. Also, attach your zip to the back. Make sure that the zip is long enough. Let it come down very well than the usual way of putting your zip. Let it come down so that when you want to wear it, you don't have problem wearing this dress. This is what the back looks like. Now let's attach our beads. From the joining point on the shoulder, put your beads long enough to go around and meet the other joining points on the shoulder. So that is what I'm trying to do here. You can use your fishing line or you can use your thread. So I made use of black thread. I'm trying to secure the beads to make sure it doesn't cut. I double the thread before using. Please secure this firmly so that it doesn't cut. You know it is kind of fragile. Any little thing, it might just cut. So make sure you secure it carefully, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do here so that it doesn't cut on the way. Now after doing that, take your measuring tape and measure the space between this first line of bead and the second line of bead. So I made use of 1 inch spacing between the first and the second line of bead and 2 inches spacing for the rest. You can see I'm measuring it. So one secret about this beading is that you need to make the length of the beads loosed so that when it balances at the back, it forms this U shape. So if the length is not loosed enough to form this U shape, it may be hard to wear and then it may also cut easily. So make it loose, make it free. So the more free it is, the more it is easier to wear. You can see that it is already stylish and giving. I'm sure you'd want to try this out. So after placing the beads, if you have more beads, you can just fill up the gaps, fill up the spaces to make it fuller, and you can see how long the zip is. I really hope we've learned a thing or two from this tutorial. Please do well to like, share and subscribe for more beautiful contents like this. Bye and see you in my next video.